This is the Following On podcast. We're looking back at England's 8-wicket victory over the West Indies in the first T20 in Barbados. I'm Andrew McKenna. I'm going to be joined by the former England fast bowler Alex Tudor and cricket writer Jarrod Kimber to go through all of the action. We're going to be discussing a memorable night for the England opener Phil Salt, who scored a magnificent century. We'll also look at where it went so wrong for the West Indies and get reaction from the Kensington Oval. So plenty to come over the next 20 minutes or so. This is Following On. So the first T20 is in the book. England won the toss and asked the West Indies to bat. And when there was 69 for 5 in the 9th over, it looked like this might be a fairly short and fairly routine game of cricket. King dismissed for 3, Lewis 13, Pooran 38, Shimron Hetmyer a first ball duck, Rovman Powell 18 and Shafane Rutherford 2 from 6. However, Andre Russell with 30, Romario Shepherd 35 not out and Gudakesh Moti 33 from just 14 balls saw the West Indies up to 182 for 9. Saqib Mahmood took 4 for 34 for England, his best figures in T20 international cricket. There was also 3 wickets for Adil Rashid, his 3 for 20. Jamie Overton 1 for 27. The other bowlers, Dan Mosley 0 for 7, Sam Curran 0 for 31, Liam Livingston 1 for 21. So 183 for the target for England at 9.2 and over to win. Well, Will Jacks, the first man to go, he made 17 from 10 deliveries. When he was dismissed, England was 73 for 1. That was the final ball of the 6th over. Joss Buttler got a first ball duck when he was brilliantly caught by Moti on the 3rd boundary off of a short wide one from Shepherd. So that was 76 for 2. But Jacob Bethel and Phil Salt saw it home for England. Salt with his 3rd 100 in T20 international cricket against the West Indies as well. 103 from just 54 balls. Jacob Bethel 58 from 36 to be the not-out man. England won with 19 balls to spare. I mean, it really was a game of swings and roundabouts, this one, Alex, because when I say West Indies 69 for 5 in the 9th, we're thinking, well, this could be routine. Then they go and put 182 on the board, remembering that the average score batting first at Barbados is 153, so they were way above par, and then England go out and do that and completely blitz them.
Yeah, it was weird, Macca. It was, England did well at the beginning, getting West Indies in a lot of trouble. As you say, getting rid of Evan Lewis, Pooran, and then you see in the back of Russell, who, as you said, got 33 from 13 deliveries, 30 from 17, sorry. But when he got out, it was like 110 for 7. You're thinking, right, at the back end, England bowl them out. But then with Moti and Shepherd, they came in, gave them that impetus, beat the ball out of the ground, as you're saying, runs above par on this wicket. But with the way, and you would think that should give the West Indies a lot of hope going into the second innings on their bowling and fielding stint and give them some energy. But the way they went about it wasn't great. Their execution was poor. I don't think they had any really bowling plans. I don't know when they're at the top of their mark what they're trying to execute, because what they did execute was way off what they should have done. Look, listen, yes, the ball was wet and it's hard to grip, but we can't use that as an excuse. It happens a lot now, especially when you play day and night games. Yes, they had a lot of rain, 6 hours of rain, the most rain that they've had in the whole year. Okay, but that's not good enough. You're international cricketers. This opportunity doesn't come around a lot. Franchise cricket, T20, you want to show what you can do, because if you do, everyone's watching, the world's watching, it will hopefully get you another gig somewhere else. And the way that they executed, especially the seamers, was really poor for me. And good players are not going to miss out. And Phil Salt being back in Barbados, he's going to have family and friends there. He went to work and he just took apart their bad balls. And it's good to see young Jacob Bethel. I mean, I've seen him in the summer, and I like what I see. So him coming not out is really important, because as I said, as a young lad, You know, that's now 250s. He got one in an ODI. He's now got one in a T20. And he showed glimpses of what he can become. So it's all good on an England perspective, but the West Indies have... And sometimes, you know, when you have a bad game, Macca, you don't want to wait a couple of days. It's tomorrow. You're doing it again, lads. So put that away. Come again tomorrow. Hopefully no rain about. It'll dry. Come out and execute your skills properly.
Jarrod, you are an analyst for teams. You know, you look at plans, you look at trends, you look at what... Could you see what the plan was from the West Indies there? Because the highest successful, the key being successful run chase at Barbados prior to this was 172. So England were being asked to make 11 runs more than what has been successfully chased in a game. And they've done it with 19 balls to spare. And to my untrained analyst's eye, if I'm England, I was just thinking to myself, right, well, let's just play out Akil Hussain, and then we'll just larrup everyone else, because there's going to be something short and wide arriving before too long.
They've got 3 bowlers who I don't think they can actually trust to put the ball on the line and length. So when you talk from an analyst point of view, it's like, what's the backup plan that they have there? They've got guys like Robin Powell, who I know can bowl a little bit, Shafane Rutherford, obviously, although he went for about 1,000,000 runs in the ODI the other day. But you don't want to have to go to those guys anyway. But they don't have a single seamer that you can just go, I just need you to bowl top of off. I just need you to bowl back of a length now. I just need wide Yorkers, because none of them have that skill set. You know, we know with Andre Russell, he can be explosive and he can take a lot of wickets. He's also one of the most expensive T20 bowlers in the world. Romario Shepherd is the exact same player, except he's probably not quite as good as a bowler or as a batter. And then you got Shamar Joseph. We talked about him when he came on. I said he's like a chaos agent. He could do anything, and he went for, what, 24 or 26 in his first over? He certainly did something there. So it's very hard to do that. I actually think, and this might sound silly now looking at the result, and I think Jude did play a part in it, I think they ended up with enough runs to put pressure on England and to win that game. And in the end, they've gone absolutely nowhere near that, Macca. And it's because they don't have the seamers to be able to do that. Akil Hussain bowled absolutely beautifully. And to be fair to Moti, other than when the ball got very wet and early on when he was bowling in the power play, he bowled quite good at times as well. But they got a total that they could have defended, but they did not have the bowling lineup to be able to do that. And you do look at this, and there are certain pitches that do suit them. This one, not so much.
Jarrod, bear with us a second, because Phil Salt is speaking at the player of the match ceremony with Nikhil.
Yeah, I enjoy batting here. It's obviously, I've grown up on these surfaces, so maybe a combination of both.
Nice, man. Tell me about the balance. We saw you in the one-day international innings a couple of days ago. Finding that balance between power and also being smart and the rotation of strike. How have you found that?
Yeah, it's I really enjoyed playing the 50-over cricket and getting into a rhythm with that. But also coming out here tonight, you've got to adjust quickly. It's only a couple of days. One training session, you're straight into a completely different tempo game. So you've got to be really specific, with how you're training and what you do. But no, I'm coping all right.
What have you put into your offside game that has allowed you to be successful through that area this year?
Do you know what? Not a lot this year. I've just sort of been running with a few things. Opening my grip up at different times and then closing it back down to access different areas of the ground. And I think that works on these sorts of wickets, so keep running with that.
Touch on Jacob Bethel. You batted with him a lot tonight. What talent is he, and what can we expect from him in the future?
Yeah, he's a huge talent. Some of the shots that he played there, he's not a 21-year-old lad. If you didn't know how old he was and you saw him playing, you think he's played 100 games already. So massive feather in our cap to have him in our team, and long may he continue doing that.
Where does this one rank in the 3?
Number 1.
Lovely, man. Well, keep cooking. Phil, well done, and we'll see you tomorrow.
Thanks very much.
Phil Salt there, speaking with Nikhil at the presentation ceremony after that 103 from 54 deliveries. Alex Tudor, I mean, it was brutal from Phil Salt. He made the most of it. There were some pretty ordinary deliveries, but 9 4s and 6 6s. I mean, he filled his boots.
He did, and he said he felt comfortable. He's used to conditions. He grew up in Barbados, played a lot of cricket there as a youngster, and he wanted to entertain, and entertain he did. As you said, he was helped a lot with the balls that were served down, and as you say, you don't want to punish them. Don't want to punish them? You do want to punish them, sorry. But listen, he was destructive. He did what because at the beginning we were saying, Buttler's batting at 3. But this is what he can do, and it just lengthens that, doesn't it, with him batting at the top of the order. The other one would say, look, now Will Jackson, we all know what he can do, but it hasn't quite happened for him on this tour so far. He's obviously got tomorrow to come again and then 3 other games. But he will need to get a score soon, otherwise he's going to be under pressure, even though he's a very talented kid.
I mean, the interesting thing about that innings is, having watched him play a lot for England and, in domestic cricket as well, and the IPL, that wasn't one of those brutal Phil Salt innings. If anything, he just waited for poor balls. And every time they gave him one, he took that on and he played a smart shot. Whereas, sometimes watching him for KKR or England, he gets a little bit too ahead of himself. Where he's trying to hit about 3 sixes a ball, right? That wasn't even that kind of innings. He, in the middle pit, he was like, well, I'm just going to wait for a half tracker if it comes. So I think that's a very good sign for him, because that's the other side that we need to see. There's some issues with England batting when they're always in, top gear. When the opposition is just playing like that, just allow them to make those mistakes, and that's very smart.
So Phil Salt will make a lot of headlines for the innings, but there is another headline from an England point of view today. And that was in the bowling half, Reece Topley. Reece Topley had bowled 2 overs and 2 balls, then came in to bowl his next one. And at this point, it was raining. His front foot, as he went to deliver, slid on the crease line in a bit of area where it started to get worn away. He slipped, went down, holding his knee. The players then left the field for 35 minutes because of the rain. And we weren't sure if we would see Reece Topley back. And he did do some work with the physio to get himself loose, practice, and said, yeah, OK, I can give it a go. He came back in, bowled 1 delivery that got hit for 6, and he went straight off again. So his figures were 2.4 overs, 0 for 26. But as he left the field and got to the steps to go up to the dressing room, got hold of a plastic chair and smashed it over the rail of the steps into the pavilion. Barry Wilkinson said on commentary at the time, that's probably going to be quite a large fine for him. I'll tell you, if they fine him for that, then we're going to launch a crowdfunder to get it paid for him, because that's not dissent, it's not anything else. That is a man who has been beset with injuries, thinking, that is another one, and that is nothing to do with me, it's not my fault. He slipped because it was wet, and you could just... Anyone who's played any kind of sport at level knows, Alex Tudor, exactly how Reece Topley is feeling. 100%,
and that's that sort of empathy, isn't it? It's like, look, knowing his story, knowing what he's gone through. Listen, he's had a lot of injuries, been ravaged through injury. He's worked hard to get himself back in. He's got to go. He's gone in there. It's raining, and generally you would come off. But in T20, the umpires want to keep the game moving forward, so they've kept him out there. He's landed in the foothole. In doing so, he's slipped, and his right leg, as his brace front leg, is turned towards sort of fine leg, and it's jarred his knee, and he's gone down. He's felt it straight away. He's thinking, oh, I hope this is not too serious, because he was in a lot of pain. They then come off, because obviously it needs a situation like that for the umpires to say, right, it's not safe, come off. He's tried to bowl in between, coming back out. He's tried to bowl the ball. Jarrod and I were sort of saying, I wonder what that delivery was that Rodman Powell hit him straight back over mid-off for 6, because it didn't really have anything off it. He obviously knew from that time that he can't get through, and in that frustration, he went off. As he walked off, as he said, he picked up a chair and decided to go to town with it. But that wasn't through anything else than frustration and him thinking, oh, don't tell me this is happening to me again. It was nothing that he could have done. He would have prepared himself, but as you said, it was raining quite heavily. He's landed. He's a big lad. He's 6'6", and he's landed. His foot has gone. He's jarred his knee, and you're just thinking, please, Lord, tell me it's nothing more serious than that.
Well, let's hope it's good news on the physical front. We'll hopefully get some news when we speak to the England camp after the game. We'll bring that to you, of course. And we'll do it all again tomorrow. Back with you from 7:30 once again for match number 2 of this series. It's 8 o'clock first ball in all of these matches, the 4 remaining T20s. Tomorrow, the second game, once again in Barbados, before everything moves on to St Lucia for the final 3 games. So England are 1-0 up in this series thanks to an 8-wicket victory, chasing down 183 to win in only 16 overs and 5 balls. They've cantered there thanks to an absolute masterclass from Phil Salt. Thanks for joining us here on talkSPORT 2.
On AM, on DAB, via the talkSPORT app and on your smart speaker. talkSPORT.